Have you ever felt that you want to talk to a girl but you really don't know how to carry the conversation forward? You maybe know how to start talking in a logical way, maybe you can ask her a question or two, but how do you take it to an intimate direction? Now, this one client on a boot camp who was facing a lot of nervousness when it comes to talking to women, I want you to check it out.
I get nervous. I'm always afraid to approach. That's the thing I have in my head.
Now, I want you to know that you're not alone. When it comes to talking to girls, a lot of guys have this fear of talking to women because they have no idea how to talk to women the way women want them to talk to them. Now, in this video, I'm going to share 3 pointers, and these are the only 3 pointers that you need to know when it comes to how to talk to women the way they want you to talk to them. And when I taught these 3 pointers to this client, I want you to see the result for yourself.
Can I get your number? Maybe we can hang out sometime.
Maybe my Instagram handle?
I don't have Instagram. You broke my heart now. I still don't know
No problem,
number.
you can have my handle, and whenever you think of joining the Instagram,
Sure.
maybe you can follow me.
Let me do this.
Hello friends, and welcome back to the channel. This is your coach Arunav, where we help men like yourself find the relationship that you deserve. So if you're still single, consider clicking the subscribe button. Now, what I want to talk about today is how women want you to talk to them. But before you even understand how women want you to talk to them, you got to understand the difference between attraction for men and attraction for women. Now, as you can see this figure, not the best figure, but this is what we could do. Now, as you can see this figure, attraction for men is mostly logical, while attraction for women is mostly emotional. So what does it mean? Now, you're out in a bar, you see a pretty girl walking by, you're attracted to her. But is it emotional or is it logical? Logically, you're attracted to a pretty face, a good body, maybe a decent outfit, showcasing that body, and you're like, okay, this is the kind of girl I like. But do you know anything about her? Maybe if you know that she's Instagram famous, maybe she's an Instagram model, maybe she's an actor, and you see her walking around and you're instantly attracted because of her desirability as well. So all of these attractive traits that you find attractive as a man is mostly logical. But the difference is attraction for women. Attraction for women is mostly emotional. Now, women, what they're attracted to is emotional intelligence, social intelligence of a man, subtle layers of the communication, and how she feels with him. Does she feel vanilla and bland with him? Is she feeling bored with him? Or is she feeling a lot of emotions, whether it's positive, negative? The more emotions you can make a girl feel, the more hooked she gets to you. And masculine nature. Whether a guy is masculine, is dominant, is he challenging? Is he a guy who can take the lead? Or is he a guy who's not masculine? He's more feminine. He's more about oversharing. He's more about over-investing in women. Women are attracted to masculine nature and not the opposite. Apart from that, other qualities which she values. Now, a girl might value a quality which is kindness. Another girl might value a quality which is ambition. So it depends on the kind of qualities she values. Like, if you're talking about a gold digger, right? What kind of qualities would she value? A gold digger would value qualities like money. Like a person has a lot of money. And to have a lot of money, a person has to be ambitious. So it all comes down to women's attraction is more emotional, while men's attraction is more logical. So how women want you to talk to them is not how you want your other guy friends to talk to you. It's very different. How you want to talk to women is more logical, but how women want you to talk to them is more emotional. So you need to understand that whenever we're communicating with someone, it's a conversation, it's an interaction in a bar, it can be in a daytime scenario. You go and you walk and you talk to a girl in the daytime, same thing. The conversation and the communication is always going to be direct versus indirect. There's only 2 ways you can actually communicate to a person, which is you can either be direct about your intentions or you can mask your intentions and you can be a little indirect. Now, what do I mean by direct and indirect? Now, this is one of the most old school, I think, terms when it comes to approaching people, when it comes to learning about social calibration. What I personally feel about indirect and direct is it's all about the situation. But that being said, there are some pros and cons to it. So I want to discuss all the pros and cons, what I've figured out coaching thousands of people in the past decade. And this is something that is all field experience. This is not something, theoretical. It's not something read from a book. This is all field experience. And, once you know about each and everything, you're going to be well equipped to understand how you can talk to a woman. But this direct and indirect, this is one of the biggest shams I personally feel, because at the end of the day, if you're direct, it shows confidence. Now, what is the meaning of being direct? Now, if you're direct to a woman means that you go and walk up to her, you convey your intentions, you tell her why you're there. Because I saw you and I just wanted to talk to you. You seem extremely attractive and I just wanted to have this quick conversation. Now, once you do that, of course, it shows confidence. It tells the girl why you're there, and now the girl knows clearly why you're there. So it's either going to be a rejection, but you're not going to land in the friend zone because she knows your intention. She knows that you're not there to be a friend. So it does not land you in the friend zone. Either you get rejected then and there, or either you get accepted and she talks to you. But at the end of the day, it's not extremely socially intelligent. Now, for example, if you're in a very crowded place, if you're in a place that's filled with people and you see this beautiful girl walking by and you go and talk to her and you're like, hey, listen, I saw you and you're cute, and everyone is like looking at her. Now what happens? Why is that approach going to fail? Even if the girl sort of likes you, she thinks that you're attractive, that approach is going to fail because the pressure is building on the girl. The social pressure, from everyone looking at her is building on her. So no matter if she likes you, in most cases she's going to reject you unless and until she's a little bit more modern, she's a little bit more liberal, but you have no way of figuring all of that out. So direct is good for beginners because I remember, when I was starting out, I had no confidence to tell these girls that I'm actually interested in them. I had no confidence to tell them that I actually find them, looking attractive or pretty. And because of that, I would always go indirect. Now, if a beginner goes indirect, what's going to happen? It's only going to work if you know how to play with your non-verbal communication. Now, your verbal communication is what you're saying. Your non-verbal communication is your tonality, the way you're looking at her, the way you're playing with your facial expressions. All of that combines your non-verbal communication. Now, when you're starting out, you have not a good idea about how to work on your non-verbal communication. It can be your eye contact, your facial expressions, your body language. But when you're starting out, you still know how to talk because you've been talking to people. So at the end of the day, direct is a lot better for beginners because firstly, it removes that filter that you might have that I cannot show my attraction to her. If I show my attraction to her, she's going to reject me. Second thing, it tells the girl why you're there. Third thing, you don't land in the friend zone. Most of the beginners land in the friend zone because they try to go indirect. Now, indirect is only going to work if you know how to play with your non-verbal communication. I'm going to show you an example. But it also means that you're more calibrated when you're talking to people because indirect, generally, people are more accepting to it. They're going to talk to you. They're going to have a conversation. But it also has more chances to land in the friend zone. And you land in the friend zone if you're not an advanced guy, if you're a beginner guy who's trying to do indirect approaches. Now I want to give you an example between direct and indirect so it's all very clear to you how to do the approach. Now, when I was a beginner, my direct would be something really weak because my non-verbal communication was not at point. So I would go, excuse me, I just saw you and you look very pretty and I just wanted to say hi. Now, that would be my direct approach when I was a beginner. Now, my indirect approach when I was a beginner would be like, excuse me, do you know where's the Starbucks? Is it over there? Are you sure? 100% it's over there? Can I trust you? Now, that would be my indirect approach. Now, for a beginner, a direct approach is a lot better because at that point in time, you're showing the girl that why you're there. The girl exactly knows why you're there. An indirect approach, because you don't know how to play with your non-verbal communication, it's not going to work that good. Now, after doing 10,000 approaches, my approach changed quite a bit. Now, what changed in my approach was when I was direct, I'd be like, excuse me, I saw you and, I just wanted to say that you have a beautiful outfit. You have a beautiful outfit. What's your name? Not many people in Delhi wear this kind of outfit. Are you from Delhi? Now, this would be my direct approach with direct non-verbal communication as well. Now, this approach, of course, works a lot better than a direct approach with indirect non-verbal communications where my eyes are looking here and there. I'm not 100% certain. Now, about indirect approaches, as I grew more advanced, I realized that indirect has a different way of doing it. You need to be good at transitioning from an indirect approach to a direct approach. Plus, your non-verbal communication, which is eye contact, your facial expression, has to be really playful while you're being, indirect with the conversation. So, for example, excuse me, do you know where the Starbucks is? Are you sure? For some reason, with that smirk on your face, I don't know if I should trust you. And in Delhi, I've been warned that not to trust people in Delhi. Are you from Delhi originally? Oh, you're not? Where are you from? I thought you were not, so I can trust you probably. What's your name? My name is Arunav. Nice to meet you. Now, in this approach, if you think about it, what am I doing? I'm playing with my facial expressions, playing with my eye contact, playing with my vocal tonality, and this is how girls want you to talk to them. So now you know how attraction for men and attraction for women work differently. Now, before I even tell you how women want you to talk to them, I want to tell you the difference between any communication. Any communication lands in a direct communication or an indirect communication. Now, before I even start, I want to tell you one more thing. I want you to join the WhatsApp group. The link is in the comment below. In the pinned comment, all you need to do is click the pinned comment, join the WhatsApp group, because over there, you'll be getting this book that I just wrote. It's called Beyond Small Talk, Turn Her On with Conversations. This includes everything you need to know about conversations. And I'll share my own experience, guys. Starting from Singapore, talking to many girls, learning about each and everything by field testing it. And all of this is going to be completely free. Not only this, there's going to be bonuses that you're going to get once you join that WhatsApp group because we're also launching a free course. So stay tuned for all the big things that are coming up. And I hope you like this content. If you like this content, let me know in the comment section below what you like about this. Now let's discuss what's the objective when you're talking to women. What is your objective when you're talking to women as a man? You don't want to land in the friend zone. You want to get her attracted. You don't want to become her friend. So the objective is make conversation man to woman, not friend to friend. A man to woman conversation is a conversation where if you're left alone with the woman, she knows exactly what's up. She knows that if you're alone in a room with her, you guys are going to hook up. That's a man to woman conversation. Now, how do you have a man to woman conversation and avoid a friend to friend conversation where you land in the friend zone? So first thing you need to know is always carry the responsibility of the conversation. As a man, it's your job and it's your duty to carry the responsibility of the conversation. If you think the woman is going to carry the responsibility of the conversation, never going to happen. So for this, you need to lead it where you want it to go. Now, if you want it to go to an intimate direction, you need to lead the woman over there. You cannot expect the woman to take the responsibility off your shoulders and lead that conversation. It happens once in a blue moon. You're in a club, this girl sees you and she approaches you, but that is just once in a blue moon. For me, I think in like 365 days, if I've gone to a club like 200 days, it has happened once. So you cannot depend on that stuff. Lead it where you want it to go. As a man, it's your responsibility. If you want to take her to a coffee shop, you need to lead it to a coffee shop. If as a man you want it to go towards a relationship, you got to lead it towards a relationship. You have to get her number, you have to take her hand, you have to get her to an instant date, not the woman. The woman is not going to do all of that. Point B is don't fall into her frame. Now, most men, when they're talking to women, when they're talking to girls, is they fall into her frame immediately as they start talking to her. And I'm going to give you a small example. So I was at this bar last weekend and I told my friend, hey, why don't you go and talk to this beautiful girl who's standing alone? And this guy goes and he's like, excuse me, what's your name? And the girl is like, listen, I need a lighter. I'm trying to light my cigarette. I don't have a lighter. Can you get me a lighter? And the guy's like, yeah, let me just try to find the lighter. Let me just try to get the lighter. Excuse me, waiter, can you get the lighter? Can you get the lighter? Now, what happens with that is he's falling into her frame immediately. As a man, you have to lead the conversation where it goes. If the woman is leading, it's not going to go anywhere. It's generally going to die out. Now, what happened over there, he spoke to the girl, he got the lighter, and the girl is like, I might talk to this guy because he got me a lighter, but it doesn't seem that engaging. But what should he have done over there? He should have gone to the girl and he should have been like, hey, listen, I'm not going to get you a lighter. I mean, I might, but first, why don't you tell me your name? I don't even know your name. Now, if he would have done that, he would have controlled the conversation frame. And because he would have controlled the conversation frame, he would have captured the girl's attention who was constantly on her phone. And she didn't even think that, this guy is deserving enough for her to keep her phone down. So do not fall into her frame when you talk to her. Do not ask too many questions. Now, this is where most men go wrong. They're just asking question after question after question just to, take the conversation forward. And what it does is basically you're putting the responsibility of the conversation on the woman's shoulder. Now, what happens when you do that is, she's going to reply to certain questions. She's going to tell you where she's from, what she does. It's going in a logical tangent. She's going to lose interest. Now, the moment she loses interest, she's going to be like, I want to go out of here because you're the only one asking questions. She doesn't know anything about you. She's not connected to you at all. Now, because she's not connected to you, she's going to leave you and she's going to text you back. So do not ask too many questions. If you're asking too many questions, means that you need to work on your conversation game, which I'm going to tell you exactly how to. But do not ask question after question after question in the hope that the conversation is going to get carried forward. Now, the second thing that you want to do is be authentic and true to how you're feeling. Now, what do I mean by authentic and true? Now, there's certain points I want to explain with this. I don't mean just be yourself and just go out there and do whatever you want. I'm going to tell you exactly what to do. So first thing is your emotions, your thoughts, your words, and your actions has to be aligned. So what does it mean? Now, if I'm feeling emotionally, I'm feeling like tired. And this was back in Bangalore. I was in a club and I was going for a boot camp. So this was like 3 boot camps in a row. Now I go to that club and I'm like, listen, I am too tired to go and talk to these girls. And I don't know what I'm going to do. And my assistant is like, no, man, you can do it. I'm like, listen, I don't want to put on a front. And, I'm trying very hard to talk to a lot of girls, like, being super energetic, trying to be energetic. And these girls are catching each of my actions. Like, they're like, oh, why are you talking to us? Seems like you're tired. Now, I really like this one girl at the bar. And I was like, okay, let's be real. Time to be real. Time to feel what I'm feeling, embrace it, and keep myself aligned to whatever emotions I'm going through. And the emotions were like, I didn't want to be there. I didn't want to be a part of that boot camp, but I was the one who was coaching. So I'm there and I'm like, okay, let me just go and talk to this girl. And I'm like, hey, listen, I'm extremely tired. I don't even know why I'm here, but I just saw you. And I thought, I should talk to you. I want to connect with you. I'm not at my best personality tonight, but, I want to take you out. I want to get to know you more. And I got the girl and got her number, and all the clients, all the students, they were amazed. They were like, what happened? This guy barely is even opening his eyes. It was like a 5-day long boot camp we used to do earlier. So, thing is, your emotions, thoughts, words, and actions should be aligned, and there's a reason for that. The reason is that girls have a sixth sense for this. Girls, they can capture this very well. If you're a guy who's not feeling confident and you're like, okay, let me try to project to be confident, they're going to shit test you. There's a video on shit test. I'll link that video over here. You'll understand each and everything about what kind of test woman is going to give you and how to pass those tests. But apart from that, women have a sixth sense for this, so your emotions have to be aligned. Only then you'll be truly authentic, and women love authenticity above anything else. Second thing is be socially calibrated. Now, what I mean by social calibration is, as I mentioned, be authentic. And say you're having a bad day and you go to the girl and you're like, man, I'm having a bad day and I actually lost my phone this weekend. So, I'm just putting myself in that situation. And if I'm going to a girl and I tell her, hey, listen, I lost my phone, lost all my contacts, my work scheduling is fucked. And, it's so hectic. I didn't even back up on iCloud. And it's the worst day of my life. What's the girl going to say? Girl's going to say he's a little bitch. So do not be a little bitch. Be socially calibrated to what to share and what not to share. Being authentic. Now, if you're scared and if you're approaching a girl and you're like, listen, I'm scared. Don't tell her you're scared. You can use better words. You can be like, hey, listen, I have not done this in a long time. You're too pretty. And I'm a little anxious. But I wanted to say hi to you. So what happens once you embrace your emotion, which is the last point, is embrace your feelings and express them. Now, once you're embracing your feelings, once you're expressing exactly how you feel, you become truly authentic. Secondly, the woman knows that, okay, this guy is real. He's not a robot. He's not doing some weird shit. He's not doing some, practice prank stuff. But he's just coming and he's being real to me. And that is valued above anything else. Apart from that, what it does for you is once you embrace your feelings, you become automatically a little bit more confident because now you have nothing to hide. Now you're actually vulnerable in the right way in front of the woman. Because if I've told her that I'm anxious, now I don't have to suppress my anxiety. And what happens when I've already, pointed out towards the elephant in the room, she knows exactly what is going on in my head, exactly what is going on in myself. And then I also know that I've expressed it. So, if I'm jittering a little bit, if I'm shivering a little bit, that's all okay because I'm anxious. Now, the next thing is amp up your personality to command more attention. Now, this is very important because most guys, when they're talking to a woman, they're like, hey, what's up? What's your name? Oh, nice to meet you. Now, when you talk to a girl like this, it's not going to give her any emotions. And as I mentioned, that attraction for women is more emotional. So you need to amp up your personality to give certain emotions and also to command attention. So use your body language and your facial expressions whenever you're talking to the girl to fully express yourself. With facial expressions, you can actually do a lot. Like, for example, if I'm talking to a girl and I'm like looking at the corner of her eye, I'm like, what's your age? What's your age? With a confused facial expression. She's like, why? What do you think? She's going to think that, I probably think that she's way older than she's saying. Now, what it does, it gives her certain emotions. Good emotions, bad emotions, whatever emotions are good emotions. Now, when she feels those emotions with me, she's going to get hooked. So that's, how you use your facial expressions in push and pull technique as well. Let me know if you want a video on push and pull. I'll create a video on that. Now, the next thing is be the buyer. Now, whenever you're trying to talk to the girl, if you observe some social interactions, what you're going to see is most guys are trying to sell themselves. Like, hey, I'm the best option for you. Hey, excuse me, what's your name? Oh, you're so pretty, you're so beautiful. But none of the guys are actually being the buyer. Now, how do you be the buyer? Now, whenever you're trying to buy a car, you don't just automatically go to the dealership. That's the best car. I want to have that car no matter what. Because you're going to lose out on the best options. You're going to lose out on the best discounts. You're going to lose out on the best option if you want to select a car like that. So when you're talking to a woman, you also have to be the buyer. You have to think, why is she good enough for me? Now, the first frame of mind when I'm talking to any girl is, why is she good enough for me? The second frame is, she's definitely attractive. The third frame is, I am into her. I want to take her home. So these are the three frames to be the buyer whenever you're talking to a girl. Now, once you are the buyer, the girl is going to sell herself, because automatically in a conversation, one person has more power, one person has less power. The person with less power is always trying to sell themselves to the person who has more power. Now, if you're the buyer, you will always have more power. Being the buyer means that you don't want her as much as she wants you. Now, once you're the buyer, you got to talk like the buyer. Now, what I mean by talk like the buyer is use your tone of voice in the right way. Now, what is the right way? You need to be fun, commanding, and carefree. Because if you're just commanding, then the girl will feel that you're too bossy. If you're just carefree, then she's going to feel like you don't give a shit. But if you're just fun, commanding, and carefree, what it means, like, hey, what's your name? Oh, that's a beautiful name. Where are you from? Now, once I say it like this, it's fun, commanding, and carefree. But if I'm just commanding, hey, what's your name? It's not going to be relatable for the girl. So use your voice in the right way, have a breaking rapper voice tonality, and let me know in the comments if you want me to get deeper into voice. I'll probably create a video on it. But for now, use a breaking rapper voice tonality. I think I've created enough videos on it to cover this topic, but if you want like an in-depth video, let me know. Now, all of this is going to make the conversation more man to woman. Now, some of you might be still thinking, what do I actually talk about to a woman? Now, what you actually need to talk about is you need to make conversations more emotional, because women are attracted to more emotion. So for example, if I talk about my iPhone, which I just lost this weekend, I can say that, okay, it was a 15 Pro with like 28 megapixel camera, some 3 cameras were over there was a zoom in lens, there was other applications. That's logical conversation. But if I talk about it from an emotional standpoint, I'm going to tell the girl, I lost my phone, which I used to talk to a lot of girls. My Hinge profile was over there, my Bumble profile. I was actually talking to this one girl I was really, really interested in. And we were going to set a date. And she said that if I cancel this date that particular weekend, it's never going to happen. Now, because I lost my phone, I, of course, could not go on that date. And because I couldn't go on that date, I think I missed my only chance in love. And that's basically me talking about it from an emotional perspective. It's not real, but you get the idea. Now, the conversation what you're having with girls should give her a wide range of emotions, should pump her emotions up and should pump her emotions down. It should not be bland. So that's how you have to use your voice in an effective way, your facial expressions, your body language, because all of that actually matters more than exactly what you're saying. And also, do not try to talk about logical stuff. Do not try to talk about your business. Do not try to talk about your work. Do not try to talk about your career progression, because that seems that you're overcompensating for the lack of your masculinity. So do not try to talk about it and impress her based on how much money you earn, because you might be able to get her, but not because of your personality. And a girl you've gotten not because of your personality, but because of the money you make is always going to go away when she finds someone who has more money than you. So that's a losing game. Now, when you're talking to the girl, you have to make sure that you're taking the responsibility off her shoulders. You're leading the conversation where you want it to go, so she's engaged and she's hooked in the conversation. You're commanding her attention with your tonality, your body language, your facial expressions. And if you ask me about the things you need to talk about, what I've seen in my particular experiences, whenever I'm talking to a woman about my emotional experiences, whether it's the phone experience I just shared with you, whether it's an emotional experience about me going rafting, or it's an emotional experience of me traveling to Bali, it's something that women always relate to. There's 2 reasons for that. First, it's interesting stories. Second, I'm more passionate about when I'm talking about my emotional experiences. Now, when I'm passionate about what I'm talking about, the other person, even if they don't understand it, they're going to listen to it. They're going to pay attention to it, because it's commanding attention. My passion and my compassion about that conversation is commanding attention. Now, second thing I want to talk to women about, apart from my emotional stories, is something that I'm extremely passionate about. Now, if you're a guy who's extremely passionate about computers, talk to her about that. If you're a guy who's extremely passionate about cars, talk to her about that. But you also need to make sure that you're talking about not just one passion, you're talking about many passionate things. And then you can find something that's overlapping with her, and that's like common interest. So once you talk about that, she's also, willing to invest in that conversation. But still, talk about things you're passionate about. But if you're talking about computers and she's not passionate about computers, try to shift the topic so that, she can also engage and she can also join in the conversation. So whenever I'm meeting a woman for the first time, I'm going to keep the conversation extremely light. I'm going to talk about travel. I'm going to talk about food. I'm going to talk about her lifestyle. I'm going to talk about my lifestyle. But I'm not going to go in depth, in details, trying to build that relatability with her, trying to get her to fall in love with me that very moment. Because that shows that you're a guy who does not have enough topics, who does not have enough experiences to talk about. And you're only talking about your work, your business, how much you earn, because you're trying to cover up for the lack of your masculinity. Now, this is how a woman actually wants you to talk to them. And you follow all of this, you will know exactly how to talk to them, to make them comfortable, to get them attracted. But if you really want to know how to get them sexually attracted to you, all you need to do is watch this particular video and you'll know exactly how to get a woman sexually attracted to you.